Hi, this is Jim Durkin, and welcome to our Wednesday webinar series for Impact for ACT. This week, very interesting, we're going to be going over all the activity enhancements. Activities are why you use a CRM, and we want to show you how we enhance the ACT interface to make your life easier. Okay, as we can see, we're looking at the ACT data entry screen, and down here is our activity list. This is a standard ACT activity list, and we want to enhance it here. So we have a button here right now. It just says Enhance. So I'm going to take the standard ACT one and say Enhance it. And there is our extended enhanced activity list. We're going to get into the features and why it's enhanced in a moment. I just want to show you where they can be enhanced. And if we go to the activity list inside of ACT, and here's the activity list inside of ACT. And again, I have an enhanced button here. Here's the enhanced version of that. Now, these are toggles, so I could go back and forth between the two and enhance it. But if I wanted those to always be on, if I go to Impact here and I go to this, our settings, go to Enhancements, I could say, we'll turn that on permanently. So every time I restart ACT, I don't have to click on Enhance. It's already there. And I'll just say okay to that. And even when it turns on and it launches that way, you can still toggle back and forth between the enhancements. So we can enhance the tab area of ACT, and that was the first one. We can enhance the list area of ACT. Then one of the things we could do too is some people don't like driving down here to look for information. They'd always like that information at the top. So we can actually take the activity list here, which I'm going to, and bring it up towards the top so it's always visible. So I'm going to go into Tools, Design Layouts, and go into the Impact Contact Layouts, not ACTs. We have a more robust, enhanced layout. Here is that layout, and I literally am going to take information and just move it around quickly here, just to get certain things over there. And over here on my right, I want a nice big tall activity list. Up here in our toolboxes, we have our list. And you're going to see we have many different lists exposed for you. So here I'm going to put in a list of activities. And we're going to just use the default settings, say okay. And I want to fill this area up here. So there it is. There is my activity list right on the screen. And I hit save and close, and then now you can see we have our activity list. That's really nice. So you may be looking at your opportunities and your activities at the same time. And as you go to another record, I can then say, oh, I have 2 calls with him. Let me go back to this person. Oh, I have 8 activities and 8 opportunities or so, maybe more, and all these activities. So that is the activity list. And if we wanted to extend our activity list, now let me just do one quick thing. Many people that use the Impact Suite have the enhanced navigation bar. It's another enhancement inside of here. I'm just going to go to Impact, Enhance, and I'm going to say Enhance my navigation bar. So I like this more Impact style navigation bar. Not only does it give me the core contact company group and opportunities, but it also gives me custom views. I have a custom view in here called mortgages. So here's a list of all the mortgages in my database. Maybe I want to attach activities to a mortgage because I want to, say, hey, I got these 5 things I got to do when a new mortgage comes in. And I'm going to open up this mortgage here. And there it is. I have this mortgage with all these activities attached to it. If I hit save, I close, I go look at this one, and there's no activities attached to it. So how did I do that? How did I add the activity list here? Well, the same thing in the designer. I'm just going to remove the activity list, right? So your mortgage view might have looked like this. You have your fields that you want to, do data entry to them. And I literally could just make it that much wider, go to my list view and say, oh, put my activities right here. There you go. Again, same thing, activity list right there. So there's my activity list on side of mortgage. So I'm looking at this mortgage, summer house refi, and I can say, well, I want to create a new meeting. So there it is. There's my new meeting. I'll say okay to that. Or I want to say I want to create a new to-do. There's my new to-do. Need to get appraisal docs. So documents. Okay, you understand. Typing's not my strong point as a programmer, but there it is, meetings. So I've actually attached these two activities to a custom table record in the invoice table. Very nice. Okay. Now that we have these activities in the activity list enhanced, one of the things that you're going to see here on the activity list itself, let's just go to like the default list. One of the things that we enhance is on this list, I might want to see additional information like zip codes and addresses and city and states, or even the phone number. So if I go into here and say customize this layout, I have the ability to select information from other areas in ACT. So if I go to ACT just contacts, I say I want the phone number. There's the phone number field. This could be any custom field that you have added to your list, to your table. So I'm going to put the phone number field right up here on the list, and see now I have phone numbers. Now I don't have to leave my activity list and say, oh, I need to call Amanda really quick. Right, 212. I don't have to click around. The information is presented to you right there. And also, we can go in a step further. I have this is a drop down. You have different lists here, different layouts. Like I may have a layout called above the fold, and that's this set of columns. I have a layout called invoice. That's this set of columns. I have a layout here called default with mortgages. And what it was here, if I go into design this, customize the layout, I can see, remember I said I turned on and off contact, and here's the activity field. So I could show, this is just a way, because these fields can get very long, turning them on and off is just a way of getting to your information quicker. But I have this list attached to mortgages, so why can't I see mortgage values in here? You can, right? So if we go back and we look at these, see I have the mortgage name and the mortgage amount, and here they are, mortgage name and mortgage amount. And then I have when the activity is cleared and so forth and so on. So if I were to save this, as you can see, there's my mortgage I just did, refinance for summer house. Need to get, again, I really messed that up. Need to get appraisals. Appraisal, I'm still messing it up, right? Document. All right, so I made it a little better now. All right, so that's as you can see. So if I was to go back to the invoice, back to the mortgage and open up that one, it's going to show me need to get appraisals attached to that. But what if I was in here and I was like, hey, I looked at this one, it says refinance for college. Which mortgage is that attached to? Well, as you double click on it, it gives you the basic classic ACT editor. Well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to click on Jim Durkin's record to go to Jim Durkin to see what mortgages he has. He may have multiple mortgages. What I can do here is if I right click on here, it says open the mortgage and arrow up. That's the parent. So I'm going to just say open the mortgage right here. And here's that mortgage data entry screen. In fact, I changed to, I had a different one there. Yeah, there you go. So there is that mortgage data entry screen, refinance for colleges that has all those activities attached to it. So I can look at the refinance summer house. And again, you can set this as default. I don't have it set, so I'm switching it. But there we are, back to that refinance summer house mortgage. Now that could be a mortgage. It's a custom table. I call it mortgage. You could call it a rental, sales, projects, installations, deliverables, RDPs. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's just the nature of it's a custom table or a custom view inside of the ACT database. So again, I can go and open up any one of the parents that I have right on here. And this is true where if I say mortgage amount and mortgage, even if I go back to the contact list, if I'm looking at them on here, I can do the same thing. So this control, whether it's down the bottom, at the top, on the task list, on the mortgage list, I can, of course, add the mortgage name and the mortgage amount fields on the list anywhere inside of ACT. So let's just move all these up and say save. And here are all the activities attached to Jim Durkin, and those activities are attached to these two different types of mortgages. And again, this is really nice because if you walk around onto somebody else's record, I can go right here, and now I'm actually, well, they're not attached to any mortgages. Right now, I can go right here and I can look at this and say, hey, I got 10 opportunities for Jim Durkin. I have 30 or 20 activities attached. And look, he's got 2 mortgages, at least I know of activities for. He's got a refinance for a college and a refinance for a summer house. Okay? So that's a way of extending the list views, the activity views. Let's go into the calendar. How does impact handle the calendar? All right, here's an ACT native calendar. And again, by default, I don't have the enhanced on. We're going to turn it on in a second. But this is the ACT calendar. And what we find is that ACT Classic Calendar is great when you're a single user. It even falls apart, I've seen, on some advanced users too. But I can't really see what's going on in here. I don't know what this is about. ACT gives you the ability to do little icons, but that gets really muddled in the system and everything else. Well, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the enhanced. So here is enhanced, and let me just select enhanced, go to the daily view. Here's that same day, the daily view inside here. And what we have is, we have a couple of things here. We have color rules. So if the activity is a gutter installation, make it green. If it's a gutter cleaning, make it blue. So I can put global color rules that are applied right to the calendar. Well, that's nice too, but say if I wanted to I'm dividing my day, my gutter cleanings, my installations, and I need to see this information kind of side by side rather than having to click around on it. Down here we have the types, meeting. These are filter mechanisms. So if I right click on this and say select none, and then I just want meetings, I want to-dos, I want appointments. As you can see, it's a way to actively do that. But I want my gutter cleanings and gutter installations. So again, now I filtered my calendar just for the gutter cleaning installation. But again, they're on top of each other. It might get very busy inside of here. I'd love to separate these out a little bit further. Again, let's come back down to this types here. I'm going to right click on there and I'm going to say display them side by side. See, now it is segmented the calendar to say, oh, here's all my gutter cleanings, here's all my installations. If I had meetings, I could turn on meetings. Oh, I have 2 meetings that day. And if I had power watches, how many power? I don't have any power watches that day. So now you can start seeing how segmenting the calendar when you're scheduling multiple resources, whether they're human resources or they're delivery vehicles or whatever, I can quickly look on it. We have a lot of event planners that do this, where they're planning out the weddings, but as an event planner, you're like, oh, we have DJs and we have the flower deliveries and all those different resources that happen on an event. They can schedule it and look at it very quickly in here. And also, while I'm in here, I showed you where you can put the phone number or any field from the contact table on the list view, we can do the same thing here. If I go up here to fields, these are what fields are being displayed, scheduled with, regarding, and detail inside of here. So if I come down to here and I turn on contacts, right? So fields may be the same. You may have a field in the contact called priority, and you have a field in the activity called priority. So that's why we preface the names. As you turn it off, well, they're all activities in here, but I turn it on. Oh, here's the activity alarm due, or the activity field, and then you come down, here's the contact fields. So that's why the list gets long, because you could have duplicates in here. So I'm looking for the contact phone number. So there's the contact phone, and I'm going to move it into the top or second position. And here's the phone. So now, as you can see, I can be looking at my calendar and not have to jump out and go to it. You can also, to go on top of that, if I want to see information from the mortgage table, again, activities can be attached to contacts, companies, groups, ops, and or a custom table. So I may want to see the mortgage, and I want to see the name of the mortgage. There, this one, see, it says refinance for college. So this activity on the calendar is attached to a mortgage number, and I can see that right now. Okay? All right. Let me go into here. Okay. Another thing, let's go back to like our monthly view, right? So people are looking at a calendar on a month. Now I only have a couple of fields inside of here, but if you look at this over here, this navigation over here, I'm going to make this a little bit wider. And what you're seeing is you have a couple of tabs down here. One's called the task list, one's just called notes, and one's called like the day view. And on the day view, I'm going to say select single column again on my day view. Now what happens is, and up here, see this little navigation? Maybe I don't want that up there. There's a little push pin there. So I just push the push pin in to hit it. So now as I navigate, and let's just, again, I'm right clicking down here, and I'm selecting all, just so I fill in my calendar a little deeper here. Now if I go to this day, I can see the day view. If I want to click on Thursday, well, there's my appointments on Thursday. If I want to go to the 15th, there's my 15th. So I can actually navigate around my calendar and look at things rather quickly. That's because this is set to day view. Over here, I can say I want my task view. So again, the task view is show me a list of all the activities that appear on the calendar. So if I was to jump into the future, well, there's nothing there. And if I were to come into the past or the current, it's listing from April 29th all the activities, even though this date, as we know, has like 12 activities on it, it's all picked up here. And if I was to click here, I can go into there. Now that you're looking at a single day, then it filtered the list here. So if I go to over here, there's a couple of activities there, and there's no activities here. So this task list is showing you the list of all the activities, even if you're looking at the entire month, it's showing you all the activities. Okay, there have been a couple of questions. I think I may have answered them. If not, I think one or two of them I'm going to answer in a minute too. So right now, for the 30 minutes of just trying to record this out, if I don't get to your answers, you can send me an email afterwards. I'd love to talk to you about it. I think a lot of these questions I have answered so far. Oh, well, just to finish, even on this task list over here, because it's a task list, I could say, customize the layout, and I could add any fields I want from the contact. So in the contact table, maybe I am doing a delivery system. Oh, here it is, address, city, state, zip. So I might be booking out, address, city, state, zip. So I'm looking at this information on my calendar and say, okay, on this day, where am I traveling to? That's it inside of there. Okay, let's take another step right forward. If I come along and I double click to open this up, this is the standard Act Edit Activity window. I think in the newer version they changed it a little bit, but it's still kind of hard-coded. You get what you get from Act. You can't make modifications on there. Well, lo and behold, Impact has a unique and wonderful forms designer, as we saw. That's how you drag the list of activities onto the mortgages. Well, here's a schedule edit activity. I wonder if I can enhance that one. I can. All right, so let's go to Impact here. And over here, let's go to Activities. So here's the activities. This is a list of all your activities you have, your custom activities. And what you can say is, well, if I'm creating a meeting, use the enhanced activity form. And if I'm creating a gutter cleaning, gutter installation, I'm just going to turn a couple of these on. I want to use the enhanced one in here. And if I highlight this one, I can say, edit that meeting one. And here, let me just clean this up a little bit for a second. This is the native form, data entry form, when you're editing activity that Impact gives you. Let's go back to meeting. Let's go and turn call on, and we'll say edit that activity. There it is. All right, so that is the default Impact, but it's in our designer here. All right, so since it's in our designer, we can do anything we want with it. Like these are the activity details, right? So on this activity details, I may want to have a huge note. I put all my notes into my activities, and I want the note to be that big. And if I say close and save this, again, this is a call, right? So now if I say okay to that, those changes I made inside of here. Oh, it flipped back to Act's native one. Again, because we had the little enhanced toggle. But again, because enhanced, I didn't say always use it, right? So if I had that option on, then it would always flip into it. But right here, I'm going to right click on the calendar. I'm going to say schedule a call. So here's my call that I scheduled. And you can see it's now a customized call one. If I right click, I say I want to schedule a meeting. Here is my meeting. And once they're in there, again, I can go into the designer. I can readjust things around. And I'm going to make the meeting really big. Right? So now, if I go back, that's a meeting. If I double click on it, why is it not resizing? Maybe I didn't do that. Okay, hold on a second. Let me come into here. I have the activity details. I'm going to drag it onto the screen. I'm going to put it here. I might be going too fast for the demo. I'll say okay. And now I'll go and open. There we go. Sorry, I must have just misclicked here. But as you can see, now when I'm scheduling a meeting, I got all the notes of the world I want to. I make this form look exactly the way I want to. And in fact, it even goes further than that. It's what the term under the hood is called mutable, or you could add fields to this. Like Act has the classic contact company regarding location notes. Maybe I want to add a field called, this is an invoice, right? So, parameter not valid. Hold on a second. It looks like, yep. Sorry about that, guys. So let's go back to our calendar. Okay, here we were in the monthly calendar, and here's the meeting. So I was saying is maybe I wanted to add some information like this was an invoice. So if I go into the designer, right, I have this field moved around. But once you learn the designer, you're going to learn a lot of really cool tricks in here. Like you can put panels on here to make things more colorful. You can put tabs. You can actually even have your own tab panel inside of the design of the edit activity window. But over here, I also have fields. And these fields at the top, these are the core fields that ACT uses. Every database of ACT has the banner color, the company, the contact, the group, the things like that. Well, down here, I've added all these fields. And I've actually added these fields. I'm going to say invoice number. I want a field up here called invoice number. I want a field called invoice date, and I want the field called invoice total. So I've added those three fields now inside of here. Now when I go and open this up, you can see I have my controls here. So I have my invoice date. My invoice is for $89 or $56. And if you notice, it created an invoice number for us. That's a part of the Impact Designer. We said that field is a self-generating number, so it's always unique. So there's our invoice number on here. Let's close this down, and let's go back to the daily view. And let's go to today. Right, this is back to where I had all of these activities. So I'm just going to say select none. I'm going to say display side by side, and I want my gutter and my installation. I'm going to show you the extreme of what I just did. And this is one client that's using a software where every activity they have is a billable event. So they don't really use the opportunities, and they're gutter cleaners. So you call them up, hey, come out. They charge you the $10 a foot. I'm not sure how they bill. And they come out and they send a truck out and they do that. So what happens here is if I double click on this gutter cleaning installation, this is my data entry screen taken to its extreme. So it's just like the classic data entry screen, start time, end time, how long it is. We're actually showing the contacts. This is attached to Sean Duffy, and this is his address, city, state, zip. That's from the contact record, so I don't have to go and hunt back for it. Here's my notes field. But over here, I've taken all that stuff, the invoice number, the invoice date, and I say, hey, line item is, a front side of the house, right? Front side of the house, and you have 100 feet, and we're going to charge you $5 a foot, and it does the calculation for you. That calculation was done by scripting. There's a whole nother webinar on scripting, but that's how this does that for you. So I can come along in here and say front side and say back side. You got 80 feet of back side, and that's $5 a foot too. So we are in an activity creating an invoice. I have all of Sean's information in here, so I can just say, well, let me just email him the invoice. So that's it. I have a template for invoices, and that template's being merged together. It's emailing it, packaging it as a PDF, and it opened it up over here. As you can see, right on the Outlook, let's see, is it showing the correct screen? Yeah, so you should be seeing it. So this is it. I used a template that had memorandum on them. That was ACT's default template. And if I open this up, this is a PDF that's attached. And as you can see, there is the 80 and 100 feet quantity. And there's the invoice that I sent to them. Okay, again, that is a activity form taken to its extreme. Okay, well, I want to just kind of wrap up here. I want to thank everybody for attending, and look forward to next week's webinar. Okay, thanks, everybody. Goodbye.